YouTube is such a hater. I'm about to I'm about to play I'm about to play the jewel real quick. All right, so we're back. Hey, Erica. YouTube is a hater. And I thought I was safe. I saw what you said. Like I should have sped it up. I thought I was safe because it was only like a minute and that clip was actually like a minute and 43 seconds or something like that. I really hate them. Like they are a pain in my ass. But at least I did that part. So I'm going to give it a minute or two. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put I'm gonna put this up there. So anybody that wants to join me while we let everybody come in, it was like 20 people in the chat before. So I'm gonna try and give everybody a chance to get back before I dive deep. I dive back in, right? Deep. I dive back in. Sorry, I'm trying to get in. Hey, Tori. Tori's back. Everybody come on in. Roll call. Roll call. How do I don't want that. Dang it. How do I nobody can tell me how to pin the comments at the top. Like it just literally won't let me pin comments. And I'm really maybe I need to do it from this. I don't know. I can't. I'm not gonna worry about it. Hey Tiff. Tiff is back. I see you on my phone anyway. There you are. YouTube is such a hater. Like I was flowing. It was only like a minute and 40 something seconds in that clip, and it cut me all the way off. And I was doing good. I thought I was doing something. I feel like it let me go longer with the other ones. Maybe because maybe you only get a certain amount of time. Because I remember when I was doing that live stream before with that other stuff, and it let me do it. And I feel like maybe there's like a certain level of a certain amount of minutes or something that you can do for copyrighted material. I don't know. Jenny Bean, YouTube is a hater is what happened. I was playing copyrighted material. I would call myself trying to go back and forth. That clip was so short on its own that I figured I should have been good to just let it play straight through. Because it was only like it was less than a minute and 50 seconds. And I thought I could just let it play straight through, but apparently I thought wrong. So it is what it is. But let me I'm sorry, I'm using my other thingy here to as my control screen so I can see what's, you know what, forget all that. I don't know. I'm gonna just have faith that it's gonna work. I'm not gonna worry about it. So we've got enough people back in here. Let's jump back into what we were talking about. So did everybody see the clip, or how much of the clip did you see? I don't know. But anyway, he lost the money. Everybody's crying. I hope y'all were able to see the wife she gave him this look, was just like, I can't fucking stand this nigga. You know what I mean? And I just thought that was so relevant. Like, you really should watch these movies because it is a good, like, just a case study, right? So anyway, we saw how Deanne said, I'm just doing a quick revisit. We're watching and talking about, for anybody that's watching this video without having watched the video that has the same thumbnail, the part 1. It wound up being a part 1. We're watching A Raisin in the Sun. we're talking about the parallels between that story and what we're going through today. And that's an old story. That scene did tear me up. Oh my God, Summer. Kenny says, I think the whole thing played. Yeah, it was less than 2 minutes. So I believe the whole thing played. And he was like, all right, B, we gave you that, but now you got to get off of here because you trying us. She said, they're on the lookout for Diddy, version of all things, hater. Oh my God. You know what that probably is what it is. It's him. He makes everything horrible. Anyway. So the son, the family is receiving a windfall because the patriarch has died. He's getting a pension or insurance or something like that. I feel like it was through his job though, like a pension. And the mom is just like, look, I'm not really fully sure what I want to do with this money, but I'm not, it's for the family and I want to do good things with it and blah, 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 blah. The son is just like, he's of a new generation, whereas his mother and his father's generation was just focused on like physical survival, being able to live free, and freedom for them at that time was being able to live free of physical danger from being Black. And so they moved up north, which was the thing to do. That was the goal for Black people in general at the time where they were coming up, was let's get up north to freedom. So they achieved that and they were happy and content with what they had wrought. Whereas they're bringing up the son who is now entitled from being safe in a way that they were never safe. Now he's looking to the next desire that there is for a person to have, which is, okay, now I want comfort. I want monetary comfort. I want things. I want possessions. I want notoriety. I want influence. I want political and financial power. And so now he is dissatisfied because while he has that desire for those things, he does not have the know-how. He doesn't have any connections to anyone where he could get the foot in the door or, have someone to mentor him or anything. He doesn't have the things that he would need to be able to reach that next space of existence. Hey, welcome back, Hope. And he's frustrated. And like I said, I get it reasonably. So he's frustrated or whatever. However, he's being an ass to his family. He's being just a stick in the mud, and he's just being disrespectful. And so I dissected that scene into the different ways that he was being just a toxic entity and presence within his home and his family, and how he was losing opportunities to be influential within his family structure, to be respectable within his family structure, to garner to have the women, give him and acquiesce to him a leadership role, as opposed to just acting like a petulant child because he wasn't able to just kind of demand it and take it. Kenny said that's actually understandable, but why his mother's money? That could have been a nest egg to help them save money, and then he could try entitle this. That's what I'm saying. Like it was more, my problem with him wasn't his concerns, and my problem with him wasn't his ambition. My problem was him like, why are you giving your mom and everybody an attitude when you could have learned a trade? Be a blacksmith, you ain't going to tell me that there wasn't no Black people around there, that if you would have put that energy that you had towards trying to make them do and be and everything to exalt you, that you couldn't have went out and found something to do to achieve your goals that position you to be able to do it a little bit more. But whatever. His mom straight up said he's a disappointment and all that. And I used Deanne's one of her clips from the Bible study about how God mandates to us as women not to try to give counsel to men because they are going to act like that. Because they're just naturally going to act like that. They're never going to appreciate it. They're never going to take heed. If they do take heed, they're not going to give you any credit for it. If they take heed, but it doesn't work out for whatever reason, they're going to blame you for it. You know what I mean? So there's just no winning in doing that. So as a form of protection from God to us, he's saying, look, don't even bother yourselves. Sit your pretty self down and do you, and focus on you, focus on your children, do what you need to do. We also visited. We had we had screenshots of a guy explaining how, because the wife, the son's wife, Walter Lee Younger's wife, was pregnant with their second child, and he was clearly not happy about that. And so we talked about how men will have sex with you and hate you, marry you, resent you, and the sex is just another form of basically psychological and biological warfare on you. So don't theme is you missed everything. It was so good. When you get a chance, you need to go back and watch the other one. It was so good. Like, this is a part 2 because they kicked me off because I was trying to be too great. But it's a form of biological and psychological warfare against you, in order to just at you, basically, like just. And I read an excerpt from the book. Level Up, The Single Mother's Guide to Reclaiming Her Dignity. Also, oh man, I didn't put the where are my what are y'all called? Where are my moderators? Put some links in there. Oh, in the beginning I talked about, because this is about money and stuff too, and it's about working and the idea of work and what work actually is and how we listen. If you watching this one, just go back and watch the first one first and then come back to this one. Like, anybody that's coming in that's new, watch part 1 and then meet us back here, because we're just going to pick up from where we started off, okay? So now we're going to get into the woman and men's hustle mindset. So, like, as you can see, in his own way, Walter Lee believed that he was hustling. He was trying to take that money, flip it, so that everybody could live good, right? So they could be rich, never be broke no more, and all that other stuff in his mind. And like I said, I feel for him, because as someone who's trying to build something out of nothing and do things that nobody around me could teach me how to do in the way that I'm trying to do them, it's hard and it's frustrating and it's heartbreaking, because like I said, it's there, it's within you, but you just don't know how to extract it. You don't know how to manifest it. You don't know how to make it happen. And it can feel like those closest to you are trying to purposefully hold you back, because they aren't on your program. You know what I mean? And they're not in your mind and they're not in your brain. And because you don't know how to articulate it, you don't know how to do it, it can sound crazy, and it can feel crazy. Yes, I'm back, Petty. I am back. So let's talk about hustle. Let's talk about how it is and why it is that men resent women so much. And I feel like it's because Dr. Venus, I explained, Dr. Venus is the author of this book, Black Woman Millionaire. Like I said, the same way I talk about the actual experience of trying to navigate all these the psychological warfare, she talks about the psychological aspects of wealth and money and our relationship to it and everything really into her. So I'm going to show a clip of her. Invincible says, this is why international development efforts, they typically give the money to women. The women will use it for the family and the men usually squander them. Yeah, because even when in that first clip, when he was talking about how he's a chauffeur for the white people, and he's like, I drop these white men off and they're in these restaurants and they're talking big business and they're talking about all these important things. And he couldn't even tell you what the things was, but he's basically saying, like, he's looking at these men and he's just looking at how they are existing. And he's like, I want that. They're talking about important things and big business, and then they probably ain't even talk about nothing. But I mean, I'm sure they're making deals, but like I said, once you actually get into doing certain things that you thought were so beyond you, you'll be surprised just how simple it is. Like, spoiler alert, at some point within the next couple months, we're going to be talking about, for Birth Your Bag, we're going to be talking about investing in the stock market, investing in the financial markets and things like that, because I'm currently in the midst of learning how to do that. I've been learning for a while, but I'm really like diving in. And like I said, a big part of why I hadn't gotten it really to the point that I got it to now was because I was thinking, oh, it has to be way more complicated than it actually is winding up being. You know what I mean? But if those kind of thoughts are just like, oh, this is beyond me. This is just so much. This has to be so complicated because we have such a complicated, nuanced relationship to money and earning money and generating money. We believe it has to be toil. It has to be harder. And then, like I said, even for me, when I talked about that story in the beginning of the last live stream, when I was trying to transition into charging as a business owner as opposed to just somebody that does hair or whatever, and having that struggle, having that pushback of people just kind of saying like, oh, I don't really feel like I should have to pay that much. You know what I mean? And me being uncomfortable with it and not really knowing how to navigate that and not knowing that it's okay for me to say, well, you know, I mean, I said that to her, but just generally giving up because I'm just like, I'm thinking everybody's going to want to argue with me because that had been the experience I had. I would see some people just charging whatever, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, they're not even half as good as I am, but people were willing to pay because people pay for personality and people pay for proximity. That's really what it is. And if you hate Panda Index, if you remember when we were talking about I forget why Beyonce came up, but I was talking about how Beyonce will just be like, look, you'll get what I give you and you're going to pay me well for it. You know what I mean? And people are like, yes, queen, yes. You know what I mean? But that comes from within her. That's not really about us. That's her saying, look, this is my price. She said, I don't argue with these lazy bitches. I just raise my price. And we're going to do it and we're going to love it. You know what I mean? And I just hadn't found that presence yet within myself. And so, okay, yeah. Last one I talked about in the announcements. I have a Patreon now. I gave out my Cash App. Cash, in fact, where's all that? I'm putting all that in the I'm putting it all in the what's that called? Comments. Cause why not? You know what I mean? Like that's me flexing that muscle. You know what I mean? That's me flexing that muscle. That's me recognizing that that's my own issue. But when you saw Walter Lee Younger, while he's trying to figure out, okay, how do I get out of my lived experience what it is that I want, instead of him just saying to himself, look, I'm uncomfortable and I don't really know how to do this and I might need a little bit of help and I might need, to fall back a little bit and let my mother and my wife and my sister do what they're comfortable doing and stop trying to make them bend to my will when I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. And that's where you have a lot of these dudes that want women to hold themselves back from, because, and that's another thing I think that they don't, I think they hate women that know what they want and know what they are going for, even if they don't necessarily know what to do, because of the way we handle it. We'll go in saying, look, I'm coachable. I don't know what's going on, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to defer to someone, more knowledgeable than I in this. Whereas men feel like they should be able to be entitled to just be like, no, it's me. It's my way or the highway or, whatever, even though I know and you know, and I know that you know that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. That looks a little weird. Oh, it did it in 2. It's not. I know it's not in the description box, True Mystique. But if any of the mods want to kind of make sense of that and put that in the chat periodically as we're going, because it is what it is. But yeah. So now we want to talk about the hustle. Let me pull up Dr. Venus and what she was talking about. Because that first part when we talk about Walter Lee and that whole the Younger family and everything, that was survival mode, right? Like that's everyone in survival mode. So Dr. Venus is she has generated millions through her various companies, and she's done a lot. Like, I'm not going to go through her pedigree. Please, please, please go watch her series. It is on YouTube. It's called Hot Mess Millionaire. I think it's awesome. And it really gives you, like I said, that energetic level experience and conversation about feeling your way forward through the experience of finances in America as a Black person. You know, let me go here. And I'm gonna check on y'all. I'm gonna check on y'all in the comments. What the heck just happened? I just started to read your book today and look forward. Oh, thank you, Hope. I'm glad. She says this makes me think of the thing when Themis is talking about perfectionism and imposter syndrome. I think women suffer from it when it comes to making money. I know I most certainly do suffer from imposter syndrome, like because one of the big things too that kind of holds me back from offering certain things like coaching and things like that is because I feel like I'm not qualified because I'm not like a licensed psychologist, or you know what I mean? Like I feel uncomfortable with putting out services like that when there are people who went to school for it and you know did all the things to do it. And it's not that I don't feel up to it. It's not that I don't feel like it's something I could do, but I am a lover of a good credential. Like give me a certificate or something and I'm a happy camper. So, and I respect credentials and I respect the dedication and discipline it takes to do stuff like that. But I'm also, you know, I don't want to say that I'm See, now I'm feeling those struggles of the words I want to use and stuff like that, not because they're not accurate, because that imposter syndrome, I don't feel like it's right. Like I was going to say I'm busy, but then I had that internal dialogue of you ain't busy. What are you doing? But I'm literally figuring my life out. You know what I mean? Like I'm making sense of all of these different things that I'm trying to do, all these new concepts that I'm trying to learn. Like I said, I'm trying to learn how to do stocks. I'm trying to learn how to market. I'm trying to get out of my own way when it comes to marketing the intellectual property and stuff that I do have. You know, I'm trying to build my Deanne was just talking about this today on one of her videos about how you can have intellectual property on YouTube if you get to a certain level of people. Like I gotta get to 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours in order to be able to monetize this channel. And and mind you, I want you to know I'm happy every single one of you are here. I am so like, oh my God, and mind blown when I see one or two more people subscribing to me. So please don't say I'm like, oh, I only got, that's not how I feel. But I'm just saying in goal setting and like and giving myself permission to set these goals and stuff, I'm recognizing that okay, I'm only literally what's it 10% of the way of where I want to go. But I do have, how many watch hours do I have? I think I have over 1,000 watch hours. So that's pretty cool. I'm like 25% of the way for that. Like that's amazing. It blows my mind whenever I see it. And I thank all of you for that. Let me see. 710. Is it 710? Yes, 710. I'm gonna undo this and I'm going to share the screen. You're saying the video's muted? I'm not going to leave. I don't. This is. I don't think this is a. But then again, I don't know. Why is the vid now? This. Let me see something. Let me check the settings. Camera, audio, internal mic, default speaker. You can hear me. Echo cancellation. Everything looks fine.
Everything else. Make sense? I didn't go to school for education. I went to school because I could eat. It was functional. My choices have always been survival based. I didn't go to school to get a because I was aspirational. I went to school because I was hungry. I was hungry, right? And I'm figuring that if I just make a grade.
You said make sure it doesn't look muted. Editing, start stream, remove. I'm going to remove it and then I'm going to add it again. Maybe that will. Oh, it was fine. Okay. That's fine. I'm just going to add it again. Okay.
And be quiet. They gonna feed me and give me a place to stay. This is a good deal. This is a good deal. So I got very good at following directions. I joined the military. I wasn't good at it, but it got me cleaned up. It got me some structure. You know what I'm saying? It helped me. But school is an easy hustle. It just means you toe the line. And that way I could eat, I could sleep, and all I had to do was make good grades. And I do it. So the principle is the same, whether it's street or Stanford or seven figures. It all comes back down to strategy. And until you understand strategy, you'll always be a slave. The good news is.
So, like she was saying, she was basically like, look, a lot of dudes will sit there and be like, and I've heard the men talk about it, like they'll sit and say, they don't like the fact that women put so much on their education because just I think it was Hope that would say like there's some dummies that are in school, but she said it basically like to go to school. All you gotta do is follow the rules. All you gotta do is they want this done by this time and under this rubric and if you just follow the rules, you can do it. But if you see a lot of these guys, they don't want to follow anybody's rule. You get what I'm saying? And I can recognize that a part of that is that feeling, that rebelliousness against that feeling, and it's probably not probably. I know in my soul and in my DNA that it's residual from having been enslaved in every single aspect of your waking life was dictated by others. But it's that rebelliousness against being beholden to anyone, which makes them feel like, and they tell themselves, well, everything they tell you is about somebody else having control and an aversion to someone else being able to control them. I'm going to complain about this woman keeping me from my kids, but I'm not going to go fight for my kids. I'm not going to look into the different avenues that I have to try to bridge that gap between me and my children because the man is trying to hold me back and they're just going to usurp my power anyway. It's an aversion to having, their power stripped and not understanding that you're stripping your power by just sitting and choosing not to even go that route to try to even try. You know what I mean? Like to even try and then try again and then try some more and then keep trying. But they'll spend all this time, like I said, hate fucking, hate fucking, making hate babies, doing all this stuff to perpetuate this other sense of powerlessness. Oh, these women are keeping our kids from us, and these women are holding us back with children. These children are holding us back. Everybody's holding you back. Everybody's holding you back. It says, I think black men don't like the idea of having them. No, they don't. Look at Hafiz talking about, so, oh, yes, I like to learn from Jordan Peterson and blah, 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 blah. Jordan Peterson for all intents and purposes, Jordan Peterson is low-key racist. You know what I mean? Like, Jordan Peterson, and the thing, and I won't say I feel bad about saying that, but, like, when I first stumbled upon Jordan Peterson, I liked him because Jordan Peterson seems like he genuinely emotionally connects to what it is he's talking about. You know what I mean? Like, he be crying sometimes talking about the men and what they're going through. So if nothing else, you got to respect the fact that he believes in what he's saying. And that's a distinct difference for me when I look at him and I look at a Hafiz. Hafiz wants what Jordan Peterson has. Hafiz wants what Jordan Peterson has, but he does not embody the authenticity that Jordan Peterson has. You know what I mean? She said he said he is racist, homophobic, and transphobic. Yeah. But he also, unfortunately, he also seems to have empathy. Well, he has empathy. He shows empathy for those that he feels empathetic towards in a way that is markedly different than I feel the way that, you know, black men promote and project. Like even Hafiz, Hafiz is trying hard to give that kind of authentic empathy. You see him like, oh, as a man, I really feel a certain type of way when I see men struggle, you know, but it feels forced. Whereas, like I said, Jordan Peterson will just be sitting there talking, next thing you know, he's busting out crying, and you know he really is like, and I know that feeling too. Like if I talk about certain subjects a little bit too long, I'm gonna be crying, and they're just in so much pain. You know what I mean? I can recognize that in another human being. Thank you so much, Camille. I am glad to have you. Make sure so that this one makes sense. Make sure you start with the one I did just before I started this one because they kicked me off because I was using clips. I got too ambitious. So Jordan Peterson is always crying. It's not just pain, it is emotional. No, I do feel like he started crying. Like you kind of could see where he was falling apart. But again, even that is endearing to me because when you start to see that crack in someone's emotional stability, to me, that makes them more human. It's the black guys that's just all they show is anger. All they show is anger. Once you're able to crack through the anger or the apathy to get to the sad, the crying, the vulnerability, now you're getting some, you know what I mean? Authenticity does go a long way. She said he's emotionally unstable. Yeah, I hadn't seen him for a while, and then I started seeing him again. I was like, oh yeah. And then I heard about what he was going through. I said, okay, I see that. Remember, he used drugs for a period of time. It could be sympathy or could be the effects of his drug addiction. I'm sure all this stuff is hitting him. I didn't know he was a racist, but I haven't delved deep into his conduct so far. I recently just kind of found out about it. I mean, I saw some stuff, and sometimes like I would listen to him and I'd be like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. And then you just be listening, be like, now hold up, what you talking about? She said it's embarrassing. Hafiz looks up to a garbage person. Hafiz looks, and this is the thing, and this is what we talk about when we compare Walter Lee Younger from his father or the memory of his father. And mind you, I also wanted to give some more context that I didn't get to give. So in that clip with Felicia Rashad and Diddy and Sanaa Lathan and Audra McDonald and the son, Sanaa Lathan is his sister. Sanaa Lathan is going to medical school. So we have an educated, intelligent black woman. We have the mother who's the matriarch that he has to defer to whether he likes to or not. And then we have the wife who he basically is attributing his being held back in life to. So this man is surrounded, he's in a matriarchy, and he's surrounded by women, and all of these women are the reason why, in some way, shape, or form, he can't get ahead in life. All of these women are somehow hindering him, even if it's just a little sister thinking she's smarter than him, because she really can't hold him back in any real way. But part of that money the mom was putting towards her education. So we have that going on. But getting back to Hafiz, like Walter, like I said, Hafiz is looking at Jordan Peterson the same way Walter is looking at the white man he chauffeurs around, having important conversations. You know what I mean? It's the power that Jordan Peterson wields. And the funny part is, and the sad part is, that it ain't even nothing that Jordan Peterson is doing that he's idolizing. He's actually, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, he's idolizing Jordan Peterson's white male, middle-aged white maleness, because that's really what Jordan Peterson has that gives him the advantage, and will always give him an advantage, no matter how tight Hafiz of a suit Hafiz puts on. How many fools he gets into a room or a Airbnb. No matter what he does, he will never be what Jordan Peterson is, in the sense of being a middle-aged white man. It's like that. What was that thing on Atlanta where the guy was like, "I'm transracial." He said, I'm a 34-year-old white man. Whiteness, they want white. Yeah, they want whiteness. And even on Atlanta, we'll have to do something about that one time too. The last season of Atlanta, where they had that story where they were saying it was a town full of black people, a black town got flooded in that river or whatever, or that lake, and all those black people had achieved whiteness. They had bought whiteness, because whiteness isn't really a thing. It's just a state of being that you can buy. Princess, his history is anti-black, anti-trans, gay, anti-woman. He's very much, all of your problems are your own fault, and racism, sexism, homophobia either doesn't exist or is normal societal behavior. Yeah, pretty. That's that stuff you'd be like, what are you talking about, sir? This is whiteness. They want whiteness. It says, true mystique. He tried to call out a thick woman, and he got rationed and dragged for filth. Then, in classic JP fashion, cried about it and said he quit Twitter for the 70th time. True Mystique says that's how he was able to sit there and embarrass himself. Information of two white men. All righty. So, yeah, Hafiz wants to be a white man. He wants to be a middle-aged white man. I won't say he wants to be a middle-aged white man, but if he could become a middle-aged white man in order to achieve and attain what he perceives middle-aged white man to have, he would. You can't tell me he would not. You can't, because the thing is, you can see him now putting on a persona, like he's picking up a persona piece by piece. And it started in the beginning with oh yeah, I'm not a part of the manosphere. I'm a Christian. You know what I mean? And then it's just every couple of months, every time Themis shows us something, he's something new. You know what I mean? He's changed in some way. He's like a Kardashian, but with his persona. I'm sorry, I get thirsty. She said the suits, Lake Lanier. Yep, Lake Lanier. The suits. Okay, so let's get back into this video. She's talking about what made her feel important. 850.
Stuff like that. I went through school because one, the degrees were cool to get. All right, I liked the challenge, blah blah blah, but also gave me a level of notoriety. And no one in my family had ever graduated from high school, so it made me feel important. I felt like I was somebody. But it's about an energetic. It's not about a go get it. And I don't know how else to say that to y'all. My prayer is that it lands. But I don't have to go do something. Literally, don't have to do shit. All right. But my point is, you're working too hard, ladies. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm very good at teaching primarily, and I say primarily because I have a really deep Rolodex. And I tend to work with people who have beautiful hearts of all races and persuasions. I teach primarily purpose-driven. Holla, you got to be purpose-driven. That was so weak. Holla, yes. Okay, great. Okay, high achieving, yes. And high achieving could be that you had a baby and they didn't go to jail and get dead. It still counts, so don't get seduced by degrees. High achieving doesn't have to look a certain way. Education is bad for business. And it sounds crazy to say that, but if you think it through, it's not. I have 4 degrees, okay? I was in school for 13 years. The way education works is that in order to be successful in education, you have to do certain things. You have to memorize some shit. You got to do what the teacher tell you to do. You got to follow direction. Learn how to placate your professors to get them to sign things.
I'm just stopping in here just so that I don't get so that I don't get cut off again, because Jesus, they are haters.
They get your grade average up. And I don't mean anything shady. I mean, really, it's a people thing, right? But those behaviors that get you through an education, from elementary school all the way through to a PhD, are all behaviors that are counterproductive for you as an entrepreneur, as a business person. Here's why. As a business, you want to stand out. You want to cause some waves. You want to go start some riots. You don't want to do that in education. That's a bad thing.
I'm cutting off that part because that'll probably come into play at another time, but that's not really relevant to this conversation. But it's also true. And the thing I will say though, when it came to Walter, right? He wanted to start a business. And like I said, I've been about entrepreneurship since I was in the single digits. Okay. So I thank you, Antipodes. I've been into entrepreneurship, I said in the last live, since I was a kid, to the point where they bought me like play sets that were like stuff you would need for business, Rolodexes and flow charts and all types of, I don't even remember. It was so funny when I think about that toy. It wasn't just, it was like a set, a play set, and it was all cardboard pieces, and I had to, rip them all out and line them up and put them together, and they had little containers for the contact cards, and like it was so cool to be a toy like that in the 90s. Like it was so freaking cool. I don't know where they got that from. I wish I could remember what it was called to see if they had one. Like I would buy it just to keep it. But yeah, like Walter wants to be an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurship does involve risk, and entrepreneurship involves stepping out on a limb, and but again, it wasn't his money. Right? It wasn't his money. And it wasn't even like he was like, oh, give me some money, a little piece of money so I can do what I want to do with. Like he wanted the whole thing. And his expectation was these women are supposed to give me the whole thing. You know what else I'm going to look forward to? Because it was, I don't know if any of y'all watch Queen Sugar. I ain't messing with Oprah because Oprah will shut my lights off and everything. Queen Sugar, there was in the last season, the whole thing had been about them trying to save the farm from these white people who wound up being their distant cousins and stuff, and also their owners. It was crazy. Spoiler alert, sorry. But anyway, the brother, Ralph Angel, he has a record. He's out on probation or just got off probation or something that happened. And this dude that he was in jail with came to him. He needed money. He didn't have any money. And this dude, he needed money that he'd been in jail with, came to him and was like, I got this job. It's real quick. It ain't going to be nothing. We just going to steal some stuff from this company warehouse or whatever, which happened to be the people who wanted to take the farm. And he knew this. But anyway, long story short, it was a setup. And he got caught. They had him on camera. Like there was no wiggle room for him. And they wound up having to have a family meeting. And again, it was him and the uncle by marriage. So there's another matriarchy, is the aunt, who is the only, elder of the family that's alive at this point. It's the oldest sister. It's the second oldest sister. And then it's his wife. And they just sitting around. They just like, look, we got to take the deal and we got to give them the farm, and we just going to give up, because if we don't, you're going to go to jail. And he's saying, oh, y'all just going to let them do this and treat them like, again, holding them accountable for his bullshit. And I love that scene because the uncle got up. He was like, you did the shit. What you mad about? You did it. It was you. They got you on camera, and these women just trying to save your life, and you still acting great. Like, I love that. Was my favorite scene of the whole show. It's coming back in November. This is the last season too. But that was my I rewound and watched that so many times because it was so. He just stayed there like tears flowing, and he was always crying. My oldest daughter couldn't stand him. She was like, "Is that crying man again, Ralph Angel?" But yeah, like just. I'm telling you, these dudes within patriarchy, they are a mess. Like they, and the thing is, they don't even realize that they are so privileged to have this. It can be, and that's what another thing that I love about Themis's platform is because Themis knows how to graciously accept women's, and I won't say, he don't sometimes go, okay, yeah, I need space to be my own man. But in general, for me, like very early on, I had this whole Wakanda Black Panther vibes with him because of all the women just kind of surrounding, and we can be powerful around him, and we can be, outspoken around him, and we can be in our fullness around him, and he's not like, oh, y'all ain't being feminine and y'all ain't doing this, and he loves it, he revels in it, he encourages it, he celebrates it, and we're just happy together in our grandeur. And who doesn't want to be around? But when you got people around you that are so insecure about themselves that you can't even nurture them. The mom was trying to nurture him. The wife, if you watch that movie, the wife was trying to nurture him all throughout the whole time, and he was just being an ass. You know what I mean? Like, he was just being an ass, and it is sickening. Like, it really is sickening. So let's go to 950. Oh, did we go that far? We did. I'll just keep going then.
They label you as a troubled child if you're disruptive. Well, you need to be disruptive if you're going to make your own people. If you're in the educational system, you learn how to acquiesce. Okay? If you're a business owner, you have to.
Now, I will say this. What she just said, when you are in the educational system, you learn how to acquiesce. And that's another reason why, the black men and the black boys have such a problem. And this is not me saying this as this is me saying, like, really, let's sit and think about it. The issues that black men and boys tend to have is about control. And it's about, being able to feel like they're in control of their own lives and they're in control of something. And so when you're in the educational system, this is a clear understanding, a window into why it is that women are doing so much in that sphere and men aren't. And not only are they not, because it ain't even like, oh, they're going in and they're flunking out. They're not even going that route. You know what I mean? They're just like, we don't need that. That's stupid. It's so funny because when I think about Ralph Angel, earlier on in the thing, a friend of the family was doing some kind of class about farming at the local college or whatever. And Ralph Angel went in. He couldn't read it. Something was going on. He couldn't read something, typical black man stuff in shows. And he did the thing where he's just like, this is stupid. You know what I mean? A grown ass man with a child. And it's just like, but you see that so much. So when you see these men, gotta talk about it, trying to avoid it, but gotta talk about it. Orangeville with the whole housing thing. Oh, a woman that has a house is stupid. But then when you get into him, I'm a homeowner, I'm home. He don't even know how any of that, but he don't even know why he has the house. You know what I mean? Like, it's so many things that men just don't feel like they should have to be bothered with educating themselves on, and the women are just like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, this what like she said before. And ultimately it's about survival. is about survival. Like, they want to sit and make, oh, these women are just peacocking and strut. No, y'all want to peacock. Y'all want to strut. Walter Lee wants to be a business owner because he said, I don't got nothing in this world. And he's worked because he's looking at the way he's looking at the white men, and he wants other people to look at him the same way. It has nothing to do with purpose. Meanwhile, the women are sitting and trying to, like, how do I soften my life? How can I, it's the same thing when they say making $1 out of 15 cents. How can I take what I have and multiply the way women, biblical, traditional women, we want to talk about all the tradition of what women take whatever you give them and they multiply it. So we're taking this information and we're multiplying it. We're taking all the things that we're learning and we're putting it to work and we're making it work for us. And y'all are mad. And we're doing it with kids. And we're doing it with, bodily harm and assault. And we're doing it with psychological and sexual assault and warfare on us from every fucking angle. And we're sick of it. It's sick. Like, it's really sick. And we're tired. Like I said, that was that in the 50s or something when that came. It had to be like the 50s when that movie came out. And now we in the 2020s. It's been almost 100 years. It's over. We're done. We're done with, like, we catching on. It's you. You the issue. You the issue. And not saying we don't have our own issues to deal with. We have our own issues. We ain't got time to be fucking with you. We have our own issues, and we know we have our own issues, and we can't handle our own issues because we're so busy trying to protect ourselves from y'all psychic warfare against us because of the shit that y'all can't do for yourselves. Focus on figuring out what's wrong. Y'all don't know what's wrong with y'all. And you know why y'all don't know what's wrong with y'all? Because nothing's ever wrong with y'all. That's not our fault. Nothing's ever wrong with y'all. That's not the fault of somebody else. I had to let that sink into my brain because it was on top of it, and I had to just let it sink in. Nothing is wrong with y'all. That's not the fault of somebody else. Well, good night. Yeah. I don't even know where to go from there. I don't even know. So, I mean, honestly, that is the end of my notes anyway. So I will just kind of wrap this up. Well, no, I'm not going to wrap it up. I want to invite anyone that wants to come on and say things because I did a lot of talking and I love to talk, but I also love to hear and listen. So I'm going to extend the invitation to anyone that wants to come up and say anything. But yeah, it when it comes to, and you can see that's why we have such a hard time as Black women trying to transcend these problems, but actually we're not having as hard of a time as we used to because we're looking at the environment, we're assessing what we actually need, we're looking at the ways within the system to get what we need. And I think also too that a big problem is the system is set up. And this is another reason why I feel like men have such a hard time with women, especially Black women, is because women are socialized to acquiesce to systems, to acquiesce to dominance. We are going to naturally fall in line with the dominant system within the society. Men are naturally, according to, societal conditioning, men are naturally edged towards being disruptive, being resistant in the name of manhood to systems. And even though, like I said, the system in terms of school to prison pipeline, but there's a lot of systemic issues that are set as traps specifically for Black men. But there's also a lot of other things that are there as well. And I feel like the men are so, she said, what's the prompt or the main topic? So the main topic was about money and how money dynamics work within the Black household in reference to Black women and matriarchies, single mothers, all that type of thing. We were using A Raisin in the Sun, the text, well, the video, the movies, A Raisin in the Sun, as a case study for matriarchal dynamics within the Black family and the ways that the men are being disruptive and chaotic within the structure that is there, how they're working against their best assets, which are the women that surround them, that are invested in their growth and thriving, the ways that they attack them, the ways that they scapegoat them, the ways that they undermine them, the ways that they are treacherous towards them. Like, I feel like A Raisin in the Sun is a perfect example of that. And we watched some clips. That's how we wound up getting caught up and having to do a part 2, because I got a little too ambitious and let the clip play too long straight through. And I also wove in some examples of this one guy had made this post about how men will hate fuck women, and they will have sex with women with the specific goal of dominating that woman because they don't like her, because she intimidates them, because she makes them feel lesser. They will make it their business to be able to dominate her sexually, so then to kind of catch her up, snatch her up emotionally and mentally. And I also read an excerpt about from my book that went along with that. And we were also talking about with Dr. Venus Opal Reese, that was the lady that had the braids that was sitting on the sofa, with how she was discussing why she went to school and how school benefited her, and the ways that school requires certain skills that men don't have, and like they're frustrated because they don't have those skills. But they need those skills not only in school and society and stuff, they need them within the house, because then that brings us full circle back to the ways that they are like wreaking havoc within their own families and households. But then they want to complain and say, oh, I don't have peace in the household. You are the discord. You're the discord within the household. Because like I said, in the movie, in The Raisin in the Sun, it was 5 people in the house. 3 of them were the women, and they were all like working together within their own respective lanes, making stuff happen. You had the baby boy that was the grandson of the matriarch, and then you had the son who was just mad at life. And he, like I said, he was the discord within the house. Everybody else in the house was just like, look, we making it work, we kicking it, we doing it. Maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll stay the same, but we're making it, and we're alive by the grace of God, and we always have another day to do better. And then the money came. Like I said, the money came. He was mad at the mom because the mom was like, look, I don't want my money, I don't want my husband's good name, hard work, blood, sweat, and tears put into no liquor store. That's just not, that ain't the move. He decides he's going to do it anyway, again, with no kind of background, because they don't like taking the time to learn things they don't know, to learn structures they don't know, to learn, concepts that they don't know, that are foreign to them. He took the money, he gave it to his friend stole the money. So now they have no money. The blood money that their father had to die for them to even get. Now they have no money for anything. And oh yeah, we were supposed to watch that other, but I ain't messing with them no more. I was going to show the part. I'm just going to keep that for another day, because I like that part anyway. I think about that often. The part where, so at some point, she did have the wherewithal, Jesus, to take some of the money and put it down on a house in a white neighborhood. And so the homeowners association sent a representative over to them to basically offer to buy them out, so that they wouldn't move into that neighborhood. And she was just like, fuck y'all. We're moving in. My grandson's going to have a backyard and all this other stuff. So then when Dum Dum took the check and squandered away all the rest of the money, all they really had left was that house or whatever. And so he decided to call the man back, because originally they was like, F you, get out of here, you know, how dare you. When they had nothing left, Walter came back, was like, look, we'll let you buy us out. You know, he was shucking and jiving for him. But he was making this big, being dramatic about it. And the mom was just like, look, we ain't never been poor enough to have to sell our dignity. You know what I mean? That's why I use the word dignity in my book title, because it is about dignity. Like, you don't have to have, there's no monetary amount on dignity. You could be in that, and that's really the cornerstone of this platform. It's just like, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you think of my circumstances. You don't get to dictate my level of dignity. You know what I mean? Like, I won't allow you to dictate my level of dignity. You don't get to relegate me to lesser than anything or anybody. You don't have to give me certain things, but you're not going to give me lesser because you know, like, you better not let me know in any way, shape, or form. And that's the thing. That's part of dignity. Is that's the difference between, you know, someone just being sneaky and treacherous and someone coming at your dignity. These dudes want you to accept them disrespecting and disregarding your dignity, because they want you to agree that, oh yeah, you deserve less because you had a baby, so you need to accept that I'm just going to relegate you to a concubine. You just need to accept that I might marry you, but I'm not going to feel like I need to provide for you, but still expect you to do maybe even more than a woman without children would do in terms of submissiveness, because I'm doing you a favor, because nobody really should want you because you have a child. Like, shit like that. Like, they don't say it in that way, but that's basically what they be saying. And it's just like, no, not over here. You know what I mean? So, yes, so Walter is a whole menace. He's a fictional character, and I feel disgusted. Yeah, like, when I tell you, I hadn't touched this text until, I hadn't touched this since, like I said, I want to say high school, but it might have been middle school. I haven't looked at this in a long time, and I was just like, oh my God, why didn't I rewatch that? This is good. She said, yep, that is the problem with reading women. They putting a value on. Yeah, my thing is, keep that shit to yourself, because if I get a whiff of it, I'm never. And the thing is, they want you to be like, the trick is to rope you in enough to where you're invested enough that by the time you find out or figure out or start to kind of feel that they're treating you differently, that you're so hooked on the hope of, oh, maybe it's not like that, or maybe they'll do it differently or whatever, that you're not going to be, your dignity is going to take a backseat. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to forsake it the same way Walter was, because he was just like, oh, I need the money. And the mom kept saying, like, what is it about this money? You so hype about this money. Like, we have family. We have a bond. We have our lives. You know what I mean? We have the opportunity to get up and live and work and love freely. And you just so in your feelings about this money. Like, it's just money, right? It's just money. And that's why he was willing to give. He wasn't willing, mind you, to live peacefully with his family, but he was willing to shuck and jive for a white man. Or at least he thought he was. You know what I mean? Because money was his drive. And so it's funny, because like, dudes will sit there and try to say, well, that's what women are about. But no, women are just like, look, I don't want to live below where I know I can make it happen. Whether it's by getting with the right kind of man, whether it's by educating myself, whether we're just like, look, I'm aware that I have options, and I want to go for the best. I'm going to go for the gusto. And they're mad because they don't know how to navigate this world in a way, because ultimately they want to talk about wiring and stuff. That wiring ain't working with them. Learn the systems. If this is the system, Just like she said, I think money has more of effect on men's ego than women's ego. Yeah, because even when, again, Orange Pill, one of my earliest videos, I actually did a review where I used a clip from somewhere where he was talking about the women in his field since he's a nurse. He said that women nurses have big egos, and when they have children, they have the egos of women who don't have children. And I go into my dissection of what the hell that's supposed to mean. But anyway, he's like, oh, their ego, they're letting the money go to their head. But even when you saw what he was talking about, thank you, Camille. Even when you saw what he was talking about last night, it all go because really, and him not being willing to just admit, like, look, I just don't like the idea of a woman having something so that I can't be the one to provide it for her, or I can't be, we can't both agree that she wouldn't have it without me. That's really what it boils like. If you just break it all the way to just cut all the bullshit, you just don't want a woman having something that she can't attribute to you having brought it into her life or made it possible within her life, which is fine. Like, it would be good if you were saying it from the thing, I want to be the change maker in the woman's life. I want to make her life better. No, you're just saying, I don't want her to be able to say that she got this or that or the other without me, because then she'll be talking to me this way, and which is funny to me because I remember earlier on in Themis's lives and stuff like that, when he would come on, I remember him saying something like, oh, when women are talking a certain way about marriage, they're talking in the negative. Like they're saying, oh, well, they're worrying about what would happen if the marriage ended, and like they shouldn't be going into marriage thinking about what'll happen negatively. But isn't that what you're talking about when you're saying foolish things like, oh, you don't want a woman with her own house? Because you're worried about, oh, well, she might say this and she might say that and she might act this way and feel that way. And if I find out she have a house, like, I'm just not going to be, which honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. I thank God for the women with houses, that they're safe, but, or be able to take it away. Yeah. She said, I still don't believe how jealousy. Yeah, like even to the point where you wouldn't even want your own hypothetical daughter. You wouldn't even want to put it into the atmosphere that any daughter that you might have could be making $400,000 a year, because you just hate the idea of a woman being financially independent that much that you just wouldn't even want to conceive of it. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And so she hasn't even been conceived yet. He's already envious. Crazy stuff. It's child. He said, Jinx. She said, OP is toxic and not that smart. No one can change my mind. Look, I ain't going to speak on whether or not he's intelligent or not, but he definitely has some issues that he needs to, again, it goes back to not, like Walter, having these issues, not addressing these issues. You got the women around you saying, hey, you got some issues going, or you may want to work. No, you're my issue. I don't have no peace in this house. I don't have no, you know what I mean? Like, you can never, because again, like Deanne was saying, you can't tell a man nothing, because in their mind, you're not supposed to. You know what I mean? Because patriarchy, because middle-aged white men, you know what I mean? Middle-aged white men, you can't tell them nothing. She said he lacked imagination on every front. Themis had to walk him through. It's not a lack of imagination. It's an aversion to paradigms that challenge his. He does not want to conceive of a world where women do well enough on their own and have healthy, functioning relationships with men, because in his mind, in order for the relationship between the man and the woman to be healthy and functioning, the woman has to be beneath the man has to be dominant. And that's impossible to do if the woman is financially secure on her own. It's impossible. He was draining me. And like I said, and watching Deanne's live. And I mean, not her live. When Deanne was talking about, like, you should go and watch that one. It was Deanne Matthews, and it was called, what the heck was it called? Ugh, can I make this smaller? Deanne's live is called Summer Bible Study Epilogue, The Worst Woman in Samaria Meets Paul. That one is a banger. I mean, they're all bangers, it's Deanne, but like that, I was just like, whoa. She said, you're probably right. I'm giving him too much of an out. She said, Kitty said, I don't think he's smart enough to tell when he's trapped so he can start complaining about Samantha. It's not about being smart. I'm trying to tell you, like, some things transcend intelligence. It is a primal need. It is when you're witnessing an ego death is still a death. And naturally, any organism, any entity that is facing obliteration is going to windmill for its life. So what you were looking at was the ego death, was a him fighting his ego, fighting for its life. It's not going to be logical. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to look as crazy as it looked, because his ego was windmilling for his life. Thank you so much. She said, I was on the live with him a long time ago. He didn't understand the difference between talking in general versus talking about his specific marriage. I trying to break it down, but I know Themis didn't. I don't know if you watched it last night. I believe it's still up. Go look at Themis' live from last. They had the exact same thing, because the issue with him, like I said, is that he doesn't want to. He just does not want to concede to anything. And so, again, because he's windmilling for his life, he's going to throw whatever at the wall. And then when he can't throw nothing else at the wall, he's going to insult you, because he did that to me today in the comments on their video. He insulted me, for not being married. But I was just like, the fact that I'm not married gives me the vantage point of not having anything to defend. So I can just take definitions and concepts at face value. I don't have to try to twist them or explain them in a different way or anything like that. Like, part of something is just part of something. It doesn't matter if it's the majority or not. And me being married or not doesn't negate my ability to be able to perceive that a part of something is still a part of something. And unless you are straight up trying to say or just imply that your wife wouldn't be able to foot her bills without you, there's really no point in arguing that you're paying the bigger part of the bills. Because if you can't or won't pay all of the bills, then that means that she probably would need to pay her own. You could pay some of the bill, but I'm looking at the part that, is it that you can't or you won't? Because I won't say it's an issue, but it's definitely something. I'm not saying it's an issue like, oh, you don't deserve marriage or anything like that, but it matters. It makes a difference, because ain't nobody working a graveyard shift for fun. And you looking at me to ignore that and treat it like, oh yeah, he's a provider. She just like working the graveyard. No, the fuck she don't. No, the fuck she don't. And no, he didn't try to say that she did. That's one thing I'll give him. He didn't try to say that she did, because when I said that to him, he shut the fuck up. Like, he didn't respond to me no more. He didn't respond. He went on to respond to other people, but he didn't respond to me. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. So I will put I'll put that up and see if anybody wants to talk before I go, because how long was I was on about the average time. So Kenny is really weird. He shows up time and time again, which makes me wonder if he lives in the hospital rather than works there. Y'all mean y'all be talking about this man job and everything. Like I said, I'm not. There's certain things that I'm not. Coming at y'all for doing it. Everybody can say and do what they want to do. There's certain things I'm not even going to bother with speaking on when it comes to him because it's just like there's enough. The the general stuff is meaty enough for me. Like I'm just going to focus. I'm going to work on chewing on that because like just the general logic and arguments and stuff he makes is fine for me. He can be married, he could be a nurse, he could be all that other stuff, but just the general nonsense that he be saying, that's what I want to talk about. Said remember the quality of them. I remember when he said that too. And that was the thing. And that's what his comments were giving. It was basically like after a while he just started saying like all these unmarried people don't know anything about anything to say what my dynamics are in my marriage and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. That's true. But we understand the definition of words. B says, I ain't sorry. Listen. I don't know, but it seems like everybody's chill. Everybody have a good time. Everybody get, how did I do? Was it giving? Did you like it? Because I was really excited about it. When I got started. I was like, really, this is a good, juicy, meaty one, right? She said, do we though? Listen, it is what it is. So yeah. She said he's not a nurse, a stripper, baby. You always y'all with these strippers. Thank you, Antipodes. All right. Well, I am going to call it a night then. This was really fun. There were thrills and spills. I really liked sharing that movie with you guys and sharing that piece of work. Again, like I said, I'm gonna have to go and see if I can find it. I do got TCM too. I'm gonna go see if I can find it and watch the old one, Lord, not the Diddy one, Jesus. And the sad part is, I could watch Alicia Rashad all day long, but Diddy, ooh, Jesus. The behind the back of my eye just started twitching and stuff to think about. So yes, to close out, patronize me. I'm on I'm on Patreon. Toss your girl some coins because I'm flexing that muscle of being willing to ask for what it is that I want and like what I want and need. Thank you, B. Thank you, True Mystique, Hope H, Patty came through. Happy birthday, Erica. Happy birthday, Nia X, Antipodes, True Mystique, Kenny, Christina Bell, Invincible Summer, Camille Burke. Who else is here? Themis came through. Tiff, of course. And anybody else that I missed? Oh, Jenny Bean was here. I saw her. I remember I saw her earlier. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I will see you next week for Woman Chat Wednesday. I'm just going to go ahead and play that funky music. Right, boy. Oh, Erica, you were still here. Happy birthday. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Roll smooth with a